Hi everyone, thanks for being here. This is the Hobbyist, and today I'm going to be unboxing and trying out this special watercolor box. This is the Schmincke Horadam Aquarell. This is their artist grade watercolor set, and I believe their student grade is called Academy. This watercolor is made in Germany, and as you can see, this is the metal set with it has an included brush there, the Da Vinci brush. Okay, I've been hearing a lot of great things about this one, so when it popped out, it was available in the local stationery shop. I quickly ordered it. Here it is. Ta-da! Okay, I love that it is small, right? Because it means that it's handy dandy, you can carry it everywhere. And let me compare it with the Mungyo box in size, right? So Mungyo is actually smaller, but it's thicker, and I like the quality of the Schmincke box. It has the same like matte feel as the Daniel Smith metal box. And let's open this. Right. Okay, so it has this enamel paint inside so that it won't rust easily. I hope it won't. Usually the problem is that it will rust on the hinges there. So they have provided this swatch card, so we can test it out later, but I'm not going to use this, so that I can compare it with the rest later using the Canson paper that I've been using. Right, so here are the 12 half pans, and this is the Da Vinci number 5 brush. Let's open this, twist. Okay. Right, I love the brush size, so it's not so big, it's not so tiny as well, but I'm not sure, it feels quite heavy, I think because of the handle, right? We'll see later. And let me test it out. Okay, so the half pans, let me just remove one. Okay, it's not wrapped in plastic, which is good, and it has this paper foil, and it has the name, right, and the pigment information, which is good, and it also says it conforms to the ASTM D4236 standard, which means that it's not toxic. And you can see here the light fastness information and the transparency as well, if it's staining, and right, the code for the color. Okay. Let's open this and see. Inside. Yay. I love that this is like so shiny, and see that there are no bubbles. Daniel Smith is like I think it's hand poured, so you can get different shapes. I'm not sure if Schmincke does the same, or maybe machine is doing this, but I love how the pans are really like full and how it looks like. And also, so underneath you have the logo there, and you have the, I think this is the pigment number. Is it the barcode? Yes, so this is actually the code of the color. So I'm not really good in memorizing the codes of the color, so I will probably write on the side as usual the name of the pigment, the name of the color and some information that I would need later on. Okay, so I will fast forward, speed up the video, and I'll unwrap this candies. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but if you want to check out any of the materials I'm using here, I have listed the links in the description box. That was therapeutic. So one thing I do to make sure that it's really tight, because previously what I do is that I just put back the half pans and then try to tighten it afterwards. But I realized that if I do it before I tighten it, before I put the half pans, so it's actually better. So you see here, it's not moving. And yeah, it's just like a tip for those who may not know it yet. So you put the metal clips a bit lower before you actually put the half pans. Just push it in, right? And it's really not perfect. As I mentioned earlier, I thought like everything will be like this, but maybe this is a glitch in the machine that's doing the pouring job of the paint. Otherwise, all good. Right, swatch time. I'll be using the Da Vinci brush that came with the set, and we'll be speeding up the video to ×4. Now this is lemon yellow. Lemon yellow has 3 stars in light fastness, which means like it is light fast. So Schmincke has a 5-star rating when it comes to their light fastness. So 5 means extremely light fast, and in this set only lemon yellow has 3 stars. The rest have 4 or 5 stars, which is very good. So next one is cadmium yellow light. And this one is cadmium red light, which is opaque, rated opaque. We will see if it is. Next is the permanent carmine, 4 stars, nice color. Next we have the ultramarine finest, which is a transparent color, semi-staining. And then we have the Prussian blue. This one is semi-transparent and rated staining. Next we have the phthalo green, transparent and non-staining. And then we have the permanent green olive, which has 2 pigments, orange and green. In fact, in this set there are only 2 colors with more than 1 pigment, and that is the permanent green olive and sepia brown. This is the yellow ochre, which is marked as staining, semi-transparent, and this has 5 stars for light fastness. Next we have the English Venetian red, which is marked opaque and also staining. You'll see. And then we have the sepia brown, which has 3 pigments. And this one is quite, it says here that it's semi-staining, but I feel like it's heavily staining. And now we have the ivory black. We'll let this dry up and see what happens. I love the vibrancy, the creaminess, the smoothness, the dispersion, everything about this. Now let's see if it will lift. So now the paint is dried up, and even though the cadmium red light and English Venetian red are marked opaque, in this test they are semi-transparent. And with the liftability, I really struggled so much lifting the colors in this except for the phthalo green. So they are liftable, but there's really a struggle because in this set you have the semi-staining and staining, a lot of them except for phthalo green. But we'll see later in the test. Here I'm just doing a simple quick landscape seascape painting. I like how the colors would blend and how easily they can be layered, and you see the effect over there. It's really nice. Now I'm still struggling on this part, knowing when to stop, so I kept on layering and layering because once they dried up they appear quite flat and I have to put more colors. So I guess I need to learn more on how to use the pigments, but I can definitely feel the difference in the way that the paint is dispersing and blending. It's just so smooth that it's easy to lose control of it. And testing many different brands of watercolor by now, my biggest takeaway is that no matter what brand it is, whether it's student or artist grade, there will always be that learning curve. And because the paint would behave differently, sometimes even the paint within the same brand would behave differently. It's just a matter of time and a lot of practice, I guess, to figure out which paint or brand will work for you. And as for me, I'm still trying to figure out which one would work for me in my watercolor journey. So I wasn't happy with the first testing that I did with Schmincke, so now I'm trying it on portrait painting, and I'm really happy how the colors really blend and disperse and layer. There's really something magical about it. Once the painting is finished and it's dried up, it's just like magical. So same problem that I have. It's just like, because it's good with layering, I need to know when to stop and not to overwork my painting. Overall, it's been a wonderful learning experience using Schmincke Horadam Aquarell. So now we come to my personal ranking. So as it says, personal, this is just based on my own first impressions and initial tests with the watercolor sets that I have. So for the artist grade, I currently have 4 sets, including this Schmincke Horadam Aquarell. Then I have Daniel Smith, White Nights, and Holbein. And the previous one, I have ranked Daniel Smith my number 1, but now I'm really torn between these two, Schmincke and Daniel Smith. I'm not going to look at the number of half pans in my set because I have the 24 half pan set for Daniel Smith, and currently I have 12 half pan set for Schmincke. But Schmincke also has this 24 half pan set, which is currently not available here in Thailand. So price wise, they're expensive compared to the other, way expensive compared to the other artist grade sets that I have. But again, it's reasonable for the kind of pigment, the kind of experience, the kind of light fastness that you will have learning about watercolors. As for me, I feel like price is reasonable, and you can't really put a price on the things that you learn every single day, again, based on my opinion. As I learn more about watercolor in my journey, I feel like having a quality artist grade paint is essential once you decide, after testing student grade, and then you really decided that this is something you want to pursue. I feel like having a set of an artist grade watercolor is really good, to know how it feels like and to know how it behaves as well. Or if in the future it's something that you really want to pursue as another career or just another serious hobby, it's really worth it for me. So again, the price of these two are really close to each other. They are not cheap, but Schmincke is a few hundreds more expensive than Daniel Smith. So that's something to consider. When it comes to vibrancy, transparency, dispersion, blending, they appear to be almost the same. But with Schmincke, when it dries up, the blending is so good. They really mix well that you can keep on layering and layering. But the first time you do it and it dries up, it appears vibrant and then it becomes flat, as with other watercolors. Usually, like, the colors quite fade when they dry up. But with Schmincke, compared to Daniel Smith, I feel like when the watercolor would dry up, I feel like Daniel Smith has that vibrancy, more vibrancy. And also when it comes to liftability, I really did struggle with lifting the paints in this set. But this is not because of Schmincke's quality of paint. I do think that it's just the selection of the paint in this 12 half pans, because like I have mentioned earlier, only phthalo green is actually non-staining. The rest are rated semi-staining and staining. But again, they are all liftable, as I have shown in my portrait test, which I'm working on not overworking. So sometimes I just like overwork things and then oops, it's a lot, so I try to lift it up. But it's not that it's not possible. It is possible to lift it, but I feel like I struggle more in Schmincke than in Daniel Smith, which is quite interesting, because here in this set, phthalo green is the easiest thing to lift. But when I tried Daniel Smith, I really struggled. As you can see here, the phthalo green here is the one that quite struggle as well. It's hard to lift it. And with Schmincke, they say that in this set, I've checked the information. There's nothing that says it's granulating, but actually there are a couple of colors in my test that shows granulation, like the permanent green olive, the English Venetian red, and the ultramarine finest as well. And Daniel Smith, of course, the king of granulation, no question about that. So I guess it all boils down to preference in the end. But as for my ranking, I think I have a tie the first time. Maybe time will tell whether I will prefer Daniel Smith or Schmincke in the future, but I really love these two colors, which means that if I have this tied, then we have number 2, same as last time. Holbein will be the number 2. Okay, so I love the richness in color, this one, the creaminess, but also the downside of this thing is that there's a bit of question about the light fastness of the paint, but this is way more affordable than this two, Daniel Smith and Schmincke, and then which puts still our white nights in number 3. I really love white nights as well, the color selection, the vibrancy especially, but I feel like there's a higher learning curve in using the white nights, because with each pigment they really behave way differently than this. At least when you use Daniel Smith and Schmincke, there's a feeling of like there's this smoothness in every pigment, and of course, like, some of them are of course behaving differently as well, but not as different with some of the pigments in white nights, which it's kind of like you need to take time to get to know each of the pigment and how to use them, the amount as well. So yeah, so that's it. Tie for number 1, Daniel Smith and Schmincke. Thanks for watching.